Number 9. The shaft of hands was real danger. One of the film's most memorable sequences shows Sarah falling through a dark shaft, caught and passed along by dozens of grabbing hands. The scene looks fantastical on screen, but for Jennifer Connelly, the danger was absolutely real and genuinely frightening. She performed the sequence in a genuine harness suspended high above the studio floor with minimal protection. The setup required incredible coordination between multiple departments. Puppeteers controlled the hands from hidden positions, while Connelly hung in midair, trusting her safety to rigging and precise timing. The height was significant, and any mistake could have resulted in serious injury. There were no digital safety nets. Everything depended entirely on physical precision. Connelly's visible unease during the scene isn't entirely performance. The discomfort of hanging in a harness for extended takes, surrounded by grasping puppet hands in dim lighting, translated directly onto film. That authenticity is part of what makes the sequence so effective and unsettling. Audiences sense something genuine beneath the fantasy, even if they can't identify exactly what it is. Number 10. The Goblin song nearly broke the crew. The magic dance sequence looks effortless. Bowie singing and dancing, surrounded by chaotic goblins and joyful, infectious mayhem. Behind the cameras, however, the production was anything but effortless. The scene required an army of performers working in perfect coordination, pushing practical effects to their absolute breaking point and beyond. Dozens of puppeteers crowded beneath the set, each controlling different goblin movements while remaining completely invisible to the camera. The choreography demanded precise timing between Bowie's energetic performance, puppet manipulation, and camera movement. Every take required resetting countless elements, and the slightest mistake meant starting the entire process over from scratch. The sequence took far longer to film than anyone had originally anticipated. Crew members worked exhausting hours, tempers frayed under pressure, and the technical demands tested everyone's patience repeatedly. But the results justified every moment of struggle. Magic Dance became one of the movie's most beloved moments, a triumph of practical filmmaking that modern CGI still struggles to match in warmth, charm, and personality. Number 11. Jareth's juggling was an illusion. Those mesmerizing crystal ball tricks remain some of the most iconic imagery in the entire film. Watching Jareth manipulate the spheres with fluid grace, audiences naturally assumed David Bowie had mastered an impressive new skill for the role. The reality, however, was far more ingenious and required an extraordinary act of trust between two performers. Bowie never actually touched the crystals during those famous sequences. Behind him, hidden from the camera's view, professional juggler Michael Moshin performed every manipulation blindly. He couldn't see what he was doing, working entirely by feel while reaching around Bowie's body. The angle had to be perfect, and any mistake would have shattered the illusion completely. The collaboration required remarkable patience and coordination from both men. Moshin practiced extensively to perform without visual feedback, while Bowie had to remain perfectly still and time his expressions to movements he couldn't predict. The result looks effortless on screen, which is precisely why so few viewers ever questioned whether Bowie was really doing it. That seamless illusion represents practical filmmaking at its most elegant and deceptive. Number 12. The Fireys used an old-school trick. The wild fiery sequence, where bizarre creatures remove their own heads and limbs while singing, looks like something that would require extensive digital manipulation. Yet this chaotic scene was achieved entirely through practical means, using a technique that dates back to the earliest days of cinema and theatrical performance. The secret was black velvet. Puppeteers dressed entirely in black performed against matching black backgrounds, rendering themselves invisible to the camera. This allowed them to manipulate the fiery puppets in ways that seemed impossible, tossing heads and body parts while remaining completely unseen. The technique required precise lighting and careful camera positioning to maintain the effect. What makes this approach remarkable is how well it still holds up decades later. Digital effects often age poorly as technology advances, but practical tricks like these retain their charm because they exist in physical space. The Fireys feel tangible and present in a way that computer-generated creatures rarely achieve. It's a testament to creative problem-solving, using old methods to create something that still feels fresh and wonderfully strange. Number 13. Bowie quoted a 1940s movie. Hidden within the playful chaos of Magic Dance lies a clever reference that most viewers completely miss. During the song, a particular line of dialogue wasn't invented for the film at all. It was borrowed from a classic Hollywood production made decades earlier, revealing David Bowie's deep appreciation for cinema history. The reference traces back to the 1947 film The Bachelor and the Bobby Socker, starring Cary Grant. A memorable exchange from that comedy found its way into the Goblin throne room scene, filtered through Bowie's theatrical delivery. It was exactly the kind of obscure homage that delighted Bowie, who loved layering his work with unexpected cultural connections and winks to the past. Most audiences experience Magic Dance as pure fun, without ever catching the hidden nod. But for those familiar with classic Hollywood, the reference adds another dimension to an already rich sequence. It shows that even in the film's silliest moments, there were thoughtful choices being made beneath the surface. Bowie wasn't just performing, he was celebrating the cinematic traditions that had inspired him throughout his career. Number 14. Bowie became the baby's voice. Working with infant actors presents unique challenges that no amount of planning can fully overcome. Baby Toby needed to make various sounds throughout the film, but getting a real baby to vocalize on cue proved nearly impossible. The production faced a genuine problem until Bowie offered an unexpected and rather amusing solution. Bowie volunteered to record the baby sounds himself. Rather than spending endless hours trying to capture usable audio from an uncooperative infant, the production simply had their leading man gurgle, coo, and babble into a microphone. It was an unconventional approach that showcased Bowie's willingness to do absolutely whatever the film required, regardless of dignity. The recording session reportedly produced plenty of laughter among the crew members present. Watching a glamorous rock legend make baby noises was exactly the kind of absurd moment that defined the production spirit. Bowie never took himself too seriously, and his playful attitude helped maintain morale throughout difficult shooting days. The vocals he provided blend seamlessly into the film, and virtually nobody watching suspects they're actually hearing the Goblin King himself. Number 16. Jareth watches from the walls. Sharp-eyed viewers have long suspected that something strange lurks within the labyrinth's twisted architecture. Hidden throughout the maze's walls, rocks, and scenery are subtle images of Jareth's face watching Sarah's every move, even when he's nowhere to be seen on screen. These hidden Jareths weren't accidents. They were deliberately placed by the production design team. The hidden Jareths serve a psychological purpose beyond mere Easter eggs. They reinforce the idea that the Goblin King controls everything within his domain, that escape is impossible because he exists everywhere simultaneously. Sarah is never truly alone in her journey, even when she believes she's making progress. The walls themselves belong to her antagonist, silently observing her struggles. Once you notice these faces, rewatching the film becomes an entirely different experience. They appear in stone formations, in the patterns of shadows, and within the organic shapes of the labyrinth's impossible geometry. This attention to detail rewards devoted fans who return to the movie again and again, discovering new secrets each time. It's exactly the kind of layered craftsmanship that transforms a good fantasy film into an enduring obsession. Number 17. Bowie was nothing like Jareth. On screen, the Goblin King radiates menace, seduction, and cruel amusement. He toys with Sarah, manipulates her emotions, and rules his kingdom with theatrical tyranny. Audiences could easily assume that playing such a character required tapping into similar qualities off-camera. The reality couldn't have been more different. David Bowie was remarkably gentle throughout the entire production. Cast and crew members consistently described Bowie as patient, kind, and genuinely collaborative. Despite being the biggest star on set by far, he never acted superior or demanded special treatment. He learned the names of technicians and puppeteers, engaged in conversations between takes, and treated everyone with equal respect. His presence lifted morale during the production's most difficult and exhausting stretches. Bowie's warmth extended particularly to his young co-star. He understood that Jennifer Connelly was navigating an overwhelming experience and went out of his way to make her comfortable. Their scenes together required trust, and Bowie worked carefully to ensure she felt safe throughout the process. That professionalism and humanity behind the scenes made Jareth's on-screen menace even more impressive. It was pure performance, crafted by someone unlike the villain he portrayed so convincingly. Number 18. Hoggle was a technical nightmare. Creating a believable fantasy creature is difficult enough, but Hoggle presented challenges that pushed puppet engineering to its absolute limits. The grumpy dwarf needed to convey complex emotions, interact physically with human actors, and appear convincingly alive in extended close-up shots. Achieving all of this required innovations that had never been attempted before on this scale. Inside the Hoggle suit was performer Charisse Gurr, who controlled the body movements and walked through scenes, but the face, that remarkably